Simi family, welcome back to another video. First, I want to give honor and glory, Kimbo, to the Most High Yah, thanking Him for another day, allowing me to come back before His people, my family. I want to share, it's two parts to this video. Speaking of vitamin D, far as one being, far as having deficiency, and also about a video that I saw on yesterday in regards of a doctor. She is on the forefront sharing truth, and it's just wonderful. She was a guest on the Issachar couple page on yesterday, and she shared a lot of great insights. She also brought forth even, understanding about vitamin D, and also making it known according to a report which she was able to pull off of the CDC. And it was stating that we, as the so-called blacks, African Americans, but we definitely are a Bantu that belong to the Most High. We are not the face of this pandemic. And the numbers were exactly as mine that I shared days prior, except in that lineup, the whites had went up from like 59% to like 61%, I want to say. But I'm going to play a part of that clipping. And want to also make it known about the vitamin D is that it's a underlining factor. If that is not prevalent in our body, we as the so-called black people, we will be hit harder, the hardest in so many ways when it comes to illness, not speaking of COVID-19, but speaking of cancer, sugar, diabetes, different things that, because we are not at the level where we need to be with vitamin D. And it speaks volume. It plays a big factor with our melanin family. Our melanin, it takes us a while to absorb the sun, which is needed. That's a part of course, that makes up the vitamin D pill, which in some cases, some people call it the sunshine pill. Well, being that our melanin is a protector from the UV rays, it will take us longer to be out in the sunlight to absorb that in that format, which is natural. There are foods that could be, as far as we can eat. But of course, when we hear of lighter races who don't take that long to absorb the UV rays, which can damage their skin, but on the flip side with us, it will actually not so much damage our skin, but we would have to be out there longer. So when we think the closer we are to the equator, the better off we are in so many ways, right? And a lot of our people, even in the ancient time, we were, our people were out and about, outside, doing a lot of things outside. But we have our homes, cushy homes and cushy vehicles where we're not walking, and things like that. And then, we inside the house call ourselves chilling, relaxing, but we're not getting that out there. So I want to say, they said we need to be out in about at least 30 minutes a day. So that's something to consider. And at a later time, I'll come back on as the Most High give me leeway to talk more about vitamin D and also our melanin, because, when it comes to down, even with the COVID-19, they're finding out that the intestines, as far as the gut within, of course, our stomach, they're finding that if we don't have that track of that vitamin D that is in our system, that what makes our people appear to be hit harder with the COVID-19, and then also finding in other races too. So I just wanted to bring this forth, family. I pray that, ones who are led to come to this video, you will come, and you will take heed, and you will understand what this is really all about. Okay, family. So before we get a little bit into this actual article, I saw a video earlier, and it was a Bantu brother in America who was actually doing I wouldn't say a sermon, but he was bringing forth about that the blacks in America is being hit harder than any other race. And also he was comparing us to Africa and saying that, he understands we the people, but Africa, as far as on the continent, not getting hit with COVID like we in America. And I come to find out that he was basing his information not on truth. He still was basically talking about us being 12% of the population, talking about that, he's going by so much of what the media and ones have put forth and telling us that we still are. Because when they line up the 100,000 percent, in comparison of population, what they're doing is, of course, that will make us look bad, comparing us to be what 12.5%, if that, or 13%, to their 61% of their population. Because with the blacks, the African Americans, descendants of slaves, we have been given this number, 45 million, or either, 12%, 13%, going all the way back. If you want to take it back at least 60 years ago, go further back than that. Earliest that they were keeping up with the statistics of the population of different races. So my brother, love him, but he have put out incorrect information to over 70,000 people. The video was done like 5 days ago, and over 70,000 people have watched and will watch, and he's putting out incorrect information. We're not getting hit the hardest. We're just not, according to many statistics. And then this doctor, who's a practitioner, she's going to share some insights as well about what I've put out some days back. So I'm not led to contact him directly or so forth. I'll do as the Most High lead me to do. But we have to remember, whoever you following, be led to follow them, because it's a reason. And if it's your reason to be led to be taken down the wrong path, that's something for you to think about. 70,000 people following or watch that video, and he's given out wrong information about the amount of people that we are in America, the percentage, and also about how we being impacted and affected by it worse than anybody else. And I understand he was lining it up where the curse is still here with us, but the curse is not on the continent. And he meant well in so many ways, but he just had the wrong information. So let's look at this, and then we'll go to that video that I was talking about with the doctor. New study found 80% of COVID-19 patients were vitamin D deficient. So this is a fact, not only in the black race, but other races too. They have this line that go across from California to, I want to say, North Carolina, that shows anybody who closer to the equator, when they go, below the line of going towards, down Florida, then going towards the island, then the equator, of course, Africa in that lineup. more people are found not that, far as having more deficiency, but ones who are above that line, especially in the winter months, they are actually, far as having that deficiency. So that makes sense. That's why they're, basically have been putting out that we need a vitamin supplement, okay? Vitamin D. All right, so it says a new study that looked at 216 people with COVID 19 found that 80% didn't have the accurate levels of vitamin D in their blood. Okay. So it also said the study also found that people who had both COVID 19 and lower vitamin D levels also had a higher number. Okay. So this is where the inflammatory markers such as ferritin and a D dimer. And this actually lines up with the intestines family, I want to say, and then probably go a little deeper here, which they find that to be. And that's why it's so important to start taking these supplements and doing that in the area where it will help. But we must understand that the Most High is in complete control. It's great for us to have information and to, be wise about what we do surrounding, you know, um, this information and also our intake. But please know that the Most High have brought forth information to us because vitamin D was held back by our enemies for, many, many years. They knew that vitamin D was a main factor as immune for our immune far as immunity um, immune system. They knew that it affects our liver, our hearts, and all. They knew that we were more deficient. The way how it works, the further we away from the equator. So many doctors, and I've seen several white doctors have came forth and said this within the past, I want to say 3 years. And there, another doctor, I believe she's Asian, she's saying this as well. So I'm not going to go ahead and read all of this, but just to give you this pointer here for you to see that, yeah, we need to take vitamin D supplements. And it also tells us how much we should take. Um, and that's in this article too. And like in cases, I take there the 5,000 dosage in one, and I was diagnosed of having a deficiency, and mine was really low. My doctor said I was the lowest that came through her doors since she was open. Now this was going back about 7 years ago. Okay, so they're saying that we should take up to anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000 ICU, but I take more than that. I take 5,000 and then another 5,000 because I was seeing different things that were going on with my body, and as far as little white specks, and that's another thing is a sign. But please don't take me as a medical pointers or a person to say what you should take. You should seek, of course, um, and then find out what is best for you in that lineup. Okay. So I was just trying to get to that point before we leave, and I might need to make a part two to this video because I know my time may be getting close here. Okay, well, family, I thought I was going to see it in here, but it's here. I was trying to get to it. All right, here we go. I passed it. Okay, so 400 to 1,000 IUS, I'm sorry, daily. And then in children, this is what they're saying for children, and then 600 to 1,000. And then adults is 600 to 2,000. Okay. But of course, like I've been taking it accordingly because mine was so low at one point, and then I just basically somewhat maintained after basically COVID came through. A lot of our family members got together and talk about different things, and we just basically started taking it. Me, of course, again in that capacity. Okay, so hold tight, family. Okay, family, this is a doctor speaking about this as well. Let's
What we
take a look
found
at
was
it.
that after 3 months of taking either placebo, 1,000 units, 2,000, or 4,000 units,